I know that it may sound like a crazy thing to do, but I'm making my own game engine. And in this video, I'm gonna show you everything to you about what is the current state of the game engine, what it's capable of doing it already, and what is the next steps. And of course, I'm gonna be answering a bunch of cool questions that I receive almost every day towards this project. So let's go jump to the game engine with no more talk. So if you see here, I am with Cave Engine. This is Cave Engine 0.97. This is an alpha version that you already can download if you want. It's on my Discord and on my itch.io. It's for free if you want to give it a try. But I'm going to show you everything that I'm doing new. This is the project manager. So here is the list of all your projects. And if you follow this engine for a while, and if you are new here, of course, don't forget to subscribe to this channel because I'm going to be posting a bunch of stuff. I'm already posting this. It's like a long-term project, and it's very cool to like interact with the community, especially because a bunch of new feedbacks that I receive from the people on my Discord, on YouTube, and so on, ends up being implemented in the game engine. So that's amazing, and thank you a lot if you're following this project and if you gave some feedbacks. And I had this classic tab. This was the current launcher project. Actually, if you download the game engine on itch.io right now, you're gonna be able to see this one, but I'm writing a new one which is much more like fun and cool. You can see the latest projects, the thumbnails, and so on, which is way easier to figure out what's going on. You can already create a new project as well and delete an existing project if you want. But again, it's work in progress. It's missing a bunch of stuff here in the launcher, but it's cool to see that I'm writing a new one and there's a bunch of new features. So let's go open this Cave Engine demo. I'm actually writing this to be like a startup project, a demo startup project, if you want to download the game engine and figure out what's going on, what's capable of doing it, and an easy showcase video, an easy showcase project as well. This is very important for you to learn from it if you want to make your own game. So I'm making this project in particular. It's actually very interesting because I did this in the morning. So I did this whole project in the morning. Of course, I had all the assets created in Blender before, but this whole setup was done like in the morning, probably like 1 or 2 hours, which is pretty cool. And I'm gonna press play here so you guys can see the game running. It's a very simple game. Again, I did this in the morning, but I'm gonna evolve this in the future. But this is the first, if it's your first time in this channel seeing this game engine, well, this is the first impressions that you get. So it's like a complete, feature complete game engine already. So if you want, you can download it and make an entire game with different scenes, with different like scenarios, with different characters and logics and sounds and UI, and you can export this to Windows. In the future, I'm planning to add like other platforms like web, Android, Xbox, and PlayStation, and so on. But for now, I'm focusing on Windows. And of course, I'd like to add like Linux and Mac. But for now, it's for Windows. And you can really create a complete game and export it. And people really did it. It's very interesting. Like, you can go to the engine website on itch.io and check the features, the showcase projects, because we already have some cool projects of the community, which is amazing. And I'm working on my project as well. Hopefully I'm gonna be able to release it. And before you ask, this is like a very common question. Do you have like any tutorials on how to use the game engine? And not yet, but I'm planning to add a bunch of tutorials on this channel. And I'm gonna talk about that a little bit later on this video. So stay tuned for that. So this is the first impression of the game engine. This is the 3D view. You have here the asset browser, just like you can expect for any other game engine. I do have like folders. I can create new folders. I can delete. I can rename a folder. I can delete a folder, of course. I can move folders. So this is the font. I can move to inside a mesh and can see that I do have here. And I can, of course, select this font and move to the root folder, just like you can expect. Of course, I can edit different scenes, I can edit different meshes, I can click on stuff, so I can see here in the properties, the options. I can do this with the materials, which is a lot of fun actually. Can go to my materials and, no, this is a texture, this is not a material. This is a material. I can change the alpha blending, the albedo, and the wind. I'm gonna show you everything in a second. But for now, let's press play. Let's press let's press F5 to actually start the game, or I can just click here in play game. So I'm in the play game mode, and as you can expect as well, I can play this game inside the editor, and I will be able to access the variables, the entities, the components, and adjust some stuff. So this is a very simple game. I do not have the jump animation. I forgot to add it. But anyways, you can see that I can control my player, my character, and the camera, move around in a scenario, which is pretty fun. You know, it's a very simple demo game, so I can only walk for now. Oops. I'm falling, and I do not have a death condition, so I'm gonna fall forever. So let me restart the game. And actually, if you want, and this is a very cool stuff, let me go to this part here. I can press ESC, so this is the mouse look, so it's like controlling the mouse. That's why I can't see my mouse, but if I press ESC, I'm gonna be able to see my mouse, and I can actually select some stuff and modify it in game. So the game is running, and I can modify stuff. I can move my character and select this other object. So this is a tree. Here we go. And I can, of course, change the variables here. So I can go to the mesh component of my bushes. So this is there's two mesh components, one for the branch and other for one for the bark actually, and the other for the bushes. And I can actually change the mesh. For example, let me put a sphere. I can search here, so I do have a sphere here. I can change this, and I can go to my mesh and drag and drop like a cylinder to here. So now my bark is a cylinder, and the game is running. This is why I'm showing that to you guys. I can select my player and go to the mouse look. So it will reload, and I'm gonna be able to move my character as well. And the game is running, which is like pretty cool. I can activate, like with the game running, the physics visualization. And you can see there's no pause option to pause the game from running. This is actually a great thing. This just came to my mind because, but you can still see that you can do everything that you want. You can edit the project as you want to. And of course, let me keep the game. I can press F5 or just click here to stop. I can press Control plus up arrow to maximize the tab, so I can have this full screen. So if you are doing some level design and stuff like that, you can maximize it and see everything that's going on. I do have alpha transparent, alpha blending here, so you can see that this is an alpha texture. There's shadows. I do have PCF in the shadows. I'm working in a better implementation for the shadows with cascade shadow maps. So we're going to be able to cover a way bigger map area with a simple low resolution textures without losing a lot of quality. This is Planet. And you can see something that is very fun is that this tree is moving, and this is actually a shader thing, which is pretty fun. You can select, like, you can add a wine shader to every material that you want to. You can add this to even the player or this platform here. Let me actually add a wine material. So this is a platform. Of course, I can press Shift D to duplicate this platform. Oh, I forgot to show that to you, but you can disable these lines if you want to see the project. You can enable the physics visualization, as I said before. You can disable the camera gizmos. So this is a camera. You can click here to see the camera visualization. So this is how the game you're gonna look like once you are playing. You can disable this as well, and disable the gizmos. Anyways, there's a bunch of other cool stuff. You have like some controls here, some camera controls if you want to. So that's very powerful. And let me add like a wine shader to this. So this is a mesh. This is an entity, of course. Let me go back to the whole scene stuff. And this is, of course, I do have like a parent system here. So I have like platforms, which is a folder that's just an empty entity. And I do have a bunch of other platforms here. You can select this one. And let's say, for example, I do have parent system. So let's say that I have those two platforms. Each of one can move individually. But what if I drag and drop this platform to this one? So I can click and drag this platform. And now I have a child, a parent and a child. So this is the parent. And this is the child. And the child, of course, can move individually. But if the parent moves, the child is going to move as well. I can remove the parent and keep doing my stuff. So let me select this and go to the mesh component and click here to add the material. So I do have my material, and here below me, let me actually undock this because my face cam is on top. So this is the property tabs, and of course you can customize the editor as you want to. So if I want, I can move my property tabs to here. It's work in progress, so I can see here some artifacts. But anyways, I can go to the wine shader and click to use, and I can see that the platforms already is crazy looking. But of course I can change the influence, I can change the scale, and can kind of see. Let me put like 10. No, that's too much. 3 maybe. Here we go. Can make it faster. Here we go. And I do have this crazy mesh. Take a look at that. This is amazing. Can open the physics visualization. So I do have the physics here on top, but the mesh is crazy. And the fun thing here is that, of course, I can change the roughness of my material. I can change the metallic. And this is like physically based rendering. So I do have roughness and metallic. I can put a texture here if I want to. I can put a normal map, an emission map that are gonna make this emissive. I do not have bloom enabled. I disabled that, but I'm gonna restore this feature soon. So I do have this crazy looking platform now. Let me go back to, let me dock this right here, and let me play the game. So you can see, I do have crazy platforms right now. Very fun, very simple to do. Yeah, that's fun. Of course, I can create objects. I can create like new entities. If I right click here in this scene graph, or if I click here, if I press Shift A to add a new entity, I can add a new mesh, for example. This is a cube, and it do have a rich body component by default. Let me make this dynamic, so it's gonna fall with the gravity. And the fun thing, let me remove this mesh, so I'm gonna be able to see like a convex hull mesh. And the fun part is, if I press B, you can see that my cube is falling. Can jump on top of it, and I can even drag this cube. Let me make this fall. Please fall. Yay! I do have a cube falling. So very simple stuff and very efficient. And another stuff that is very fun in this game engine that is cool. Of course, I forgot to show you, but I do. Oh, let me remove this. Let me remove this platform as much as it is fun. Let me undo this wind crazy stuff. And I can add UI stuff. So if I do Shift A, and add interface, I can add an UI element, for example. This is an UI element. I do have, it's basically an entity with a component. That means that you can add like an UI element component to the player if you want to, and you're gonna have something showing out on screen. So that's very useful. Let's say that you have an enemy and you want to have like, let's say that you have a boss, and this boss needs to have like a life bar on screen. You can add the life bar as a component, as a UI element component in the boss itself, and once the boss gets spawned into the map, you're gonna have a life bar automatically. So that's very interesting to do stuff. You can do parenting, and you can do like nested stuff. You can add like a component inside another components. There is a bunch of anchoring options here. You can anchor stuff to the bottom, to the middle, to the top of the screen as you want to. And you can do this with the scale. You can lock this, so you're gonna have like a relative scale or an absolute scale in pixels. So you can do all sorts of crazy stuff here. You can change the color and so on. And of course, you can even add a text. I just need a font, and I do have like subscribe text appearing on screen. I can change the spacing and everything that you can expect here. So this is basically UI stuff that you can add to the engine. As you can see here, I can change the color of the text as well. It's a weird color. Let me try to make this like YouTube style subscribe button, just like that. Anyways, let me delete this and go back to the game. There's particle system. It's work in progress, so I'm not going to show you. I do have a video in this channel showing the particles, and I do have the calls as well. which is pretty fun and very handy. But another thing that is very important, and I wanted to show you in this video, is the way you create logic in this game. Because I do have this player, and this player do have a mouse look component that is like engine default. I can right click and have like a bunch of gameplay components. I have an audio component. Oh, my face scan is in front. Here we go. I have like a bunch of gameplay, audio, mouse look, player stuff. This is like default, the engine default. And I do have all sorts of other cool components here that you can enjoy and have a lot of fun. This is a mouse look component to move stuff with the mouse. This is a player component to allow you to walk with WASD and jump with space. And this is the character component to have the character physics, that is just this. So this is the character component. I can change the shape, for example. Let me make this a little bit. Let me increase the radius of this, and you can see that it updates in real time for you. You can change the scale. Let me go back to the radius that it was before. This is a skinny guy, very small radius. Here you go. But you can adjust everything you want. In the physics, I do have the fall speed, the gravity, and so on. You can do whatever you want. And of course, I have the transform component that basically gives the entity a position in the world, which is of course what you want most of the time in the player mesh. But if you want, you can also create like custom types of logic, and for now this is done using Python. Visual scripting is on the way. I'm planning to add visual scripting, so stay tuned for that and subscribe to this channel if you don't want to lose this, because yes, it's gonna be amazing. And this is one of the last features that is missing before 1.0. I really want to add this, and this is also why I'm not doing tutorials for the game engine yet. And I said that in the beginning of the video that I would come back and explain that to you. So this is the time. I want to do a tutorial series, but the problem is, since there's no visual scripting yet, and once we're gonna have visual scripting, it's gonna change completely the way you create the stuff, for the reason that you no longer will need to know programming, to know like an actual programming language in order to create your logic. So I'm waiting until I had visual scripting done in order to start making the tutorials, because it's gonna make everyone's life way easier, especially if you are like a beginner in video game development and you want to make your games. You can do this using visual scripting. So I'm waiting for that before the tutorials. So the tutorials are coming, okay? But for now, let's say that I want to change the animation of the character, and I can go here to the Feed the Queen folders. This character is from a project that I made, a game project called Feed the Queen. I made this for Ludendare E49, and I do have a video on this channel, a fun video. I need to do a gameplay though, so leave in the comments if you want to see a gameplay of this game. But I have here a bunch of animations, and this is new. I'm working on new icons for the game. So animation do have an icon. If you see here, the Python script do have an icon. This is a spoiler, but anyways, and I'm working a bunch of other stuff. For example, the mesh, of course, do have like the mesh being rendered, and I have as well as the texture. So this is a texture, and there's a textures. The texture is appearing, and the materials here do have like a custom type. But for the armature and the animation, I do have an icon. For the UI stuff, I do have a UI icon, and the font, I do have an UI icon as well. So this is the miscellaneous. Let me go back and select this animation. So let's make this character run. I can drag and drop this to the animation tab. So it does support drag and drop. So it's running. Let me go back to walk, or I can of course click here and search. So idle. Let me go back to the idle stuff. So I can change everything here, and this includes the material and the meshes and everything you want, the armature and so on. But let's say that I want to change this. Oh, and of course I can change the animation in real. I can adjust the animation in real time. So let me go back here and select like the run animation. So it's more fun. Let me change the speed. So now it's super slow motion. Let me make it fast. Let me go back to 1.0. If I press Ctrl, I can override the stuff. And if I go to keyframe inspection, I can actually take a look at that. See frame by frame. So this is the animation time, and you can see frame by frame the animation state. And I can expand here. There's like a tab here for a header here for every bone in the mesh, and I can expand this and change the interpolation, change the position, rotation, and scale, and so on, which is very handy and very fun. So you can see that I have a lot of controls here, and this is the same for the mesh. I can change the stuff, I can change the material stuff, I can change the texture stuff, I can like select the map, border color, and a bunch of other crazy stuff. So that's very handy. But what I want to show you here is that I have a Python component, and I can create a new one. Right click, logic, Python, new script. I can create a new Python component, or I can have an existing one here. So I need to select the script and the component, and the script is here. I can simply click here to edit, but let me go to the asset browser because it's a little bit fun. And let me double click here, and you can see that I do have a text editor, and I have this working. Oops, I forgot to maximize it. Anyways, I do have this working here, as you can expect. I can add script, I can add Python script, and in this I'm not explaining everything that's happening in this particular case, but I do have a class here, I can zoom in, that runs from the cave.component. Cave is of course Cave Engine, and it's the name of the module, the Python module of the Cave Engine. I do have a class, and this class do have a start, an update, and an end method, just like you can expect for most of the other game engines today. So this is a very common approach when it comes to game engine logic creation. I do have like a paused update, I do have the first update, and some other like intermediate methods that are optional. You don't need to implement them if you don't want to. So that's very fun. But what I'm basically doing here is grabbing the parent, because the logic is in the player mesh, and I do have a parent here, which is the player itself, and I'm grabbing the parent, then grabbing the character and the player component from this parent, and of course the mesh from the player mesh, because I want to change the animation. And in the update, base it on whenever my character is moving or not, and if the character is running or not, I'm setting the correct animations to this. And I do have a blend here, and I'm also making the armature look at the walk direction. So I'm grabbing the player transform here, and then the character walk direction here, and then making the transform, like the armature transform, look at this walk direction. So in a nutshell, this is what's happening here. And what's fun about Python is that you do not have to compile stuff. So if I add like a print subscribe, I don't need to compile the code. If I go to the console, this is an embedded console, I can just press play game, and I do have here appearing Python says subscribe. So this is as simple as it is. And of course, this console is smart, as you expect. So if I add another print here in the update, so print hello world, this is going to be called every frame, and it will not going to span the console. So if I play game, you can see that it says it said hello world here, and then subscribe, and then it's saying Python says 500 times or 600 times hello world. So as long as you are having the same messages being outputted to the console, it's gonna nest that for you. So you're not gonna have like a nightmare of message here. So you can clear the consoles if you want. You can limit the message, so you're not gonna have like 800 trillion messages in your console, eating your memory. So you can clear the console and so on. So this is like the main overview. Oh, I do have like different scenes. So I have here another scene, so you can create different levels, different scenarios, different maps, different logics and stuff like that, and have everything working in your game. So this is very important as well. And I forgot to show you, but like this game engine, there's so many things going on already that it's hard to show everything in a single video. This is very impressive actually, because like, yeah, it's fun, but I do have like scene configuration stuff. I can change the camera, I can change the ambient and sky, and of course you can customize the render as you want. So let's say that you don't want to have like the ambient stuff. So you can just disable the ambient lighting, and you do not have. You don't want mist, you can disable the mist. You don't want to have shading, you can disable the shading. And this is basically everything shadeless. So this is shadeless state. And something that is fun about this shadeless state is that it do have shadows. So if you want to make a game that is shadeless, shadeless means that I'm not applying like lightning and shadows and Pong and PBR. This is just the textures. You painted the texture, and this is the texture as you painted. This is the albedo color as you want to. So this is very fun, especially for cartoon games. But I do have shadows because many game engines, like Blender Game Engine, don't allow you to have shadeless stuff with no shadow, with shadows. But here I do have. If I don't want shadows, I can go to my sun shadows and disable the cast shadows. So this is completely shadeless. But it's very interesting that you can adjust stuff. I can have like a shadeless game with mist. I can enable mist even with shadeless, and I can add ambient lighting with a shadeless stuff. So it's very fun that you have like the ability to adjust the render as you want to. Of course, let me go back to my non-shadeless stuff with shadows. So it's very fun that you can do all sorts of crazy stuff. You can add like HDR to this. So the sky is an HDR. I can blur the sky so it's not blurred. You can see this. I can blur it a lot if I want to. I can change the rotation of the sky, the intensity of the sky. I can change the rotation of it to fit my sun and whatever I want. So that it's a very complete set of features that you want to do. Can change the intensity of my sun, can change the color. Let me make it like, I don't know, red or something like that. I can do whatever I want with the sun. I can change the time of the day of the sun, and you can see here that the shadow we're gonna change accordingly. I can change the angle of the sun as well. So I can rotate the sun around, and I can do all sorts of shadow configurations. For example, I do have PCF samples, so if I disable, you can see that it really gets weird, but if I increase the PCF samples and adjust the stuff, you're gonna get better at shadows. And of course, my face cam is on top of it. But anyways, this was just a quick explanation of what this engine is capable of doing. There is a lot more to do. So if you want to follow along with the development of this engine, please subscribe to this channel, and of course consider joining my Discord channel so we can talk about it and discuss a bunch of crazy and cool new ideas. Let me go back here to the project. I actually paused the video and relaunched the engine, so I'm going to be able to open it again. Oh, let me actually open a different one just for the ending. I do have like a sponsor demo here, some particle stuff, and I do have this one, which is like a pretty fun and simple scene. Just some simple stuff. I do have like some shadow acne here, but it's easy to fix in the settings. But the whole point here is this. Let me actually change the threshold, the alpha threshold here. So I can, oh, this is actually fun. I can change this alpha here. There is no alpha blending, so this is clip alpha, and I can change the threshold, which is pretty fun of my stuff, and I can change the alpha, change it to alpha blending, so I can actually have transparent materials here, transparent surface. You can see here. So it's very interesting to have these settings set up. Let me go and decrease this a little bit so you can see a little bit more of a feature rich. There's a decal here as well. I don't know if you guys are noticing, but this is a decal. But anyways, this is how I wanted to end this video, with like a quick tour of the game engine. So my name is Guilherme. I hope you enjoyed this video, and please leave your comments and opinions below in the comments, and of course in the comments, and I'm gonna see you in the next video. Bye.